Oscar drama. The Academy Awards attempted to disqualify Richard Linklater's latest film, Apollo 10.5, A Space-Age Childhood, from the Best Animated Feature category, claiming it wasn't true animation. Craig Staggs and Steph Swope from Minnow Mountain, one of the animation studios that worked on the film, join us to discuss what happened, how they fought the Academy Awards, and won. Let's jump in.
You're listening to the Lone Star Plate Podcast with your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Lone Star Plate. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. We have a wonderful episode today. My guests today are Steph and Craig. They are with Minnow Mountain Animation. I've already explained a little bit of the drama, and they're coming out of it. They're in film, so kind of perfect, but not perfect, right? It's a lot to deal with. You just want to do your job and move on, and this has to happen. But what we're going to do is I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to take a quick look at some of this animation and see what all the fuss is about. So please introduce yourselves and what you do at the animation studio. Steph, we'll start with you.
I'm Steph Swope. I'm co-owner with Craig here, and I am the producer at Minnow Mountain, which means that I do all the planning and business planning and all of the super fun behind the scenes infrastructure stuff.
And I'm Craig Staggs. Like Steph said, we co-founded Minnow Mountain. It's a partnership between us. And I'm the creative director. So I do the drawing and provide the pretty and give notes on everything and that sort of thing. On Apollo, we ran the character animation unit on Apollo, so we did the people.
So sorry what happened. Glad y'all prevailed, and let's jump into how that happened, why, and how y'all came on top. But first, let's just I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to show y'all part of the trailer. We won't watch all of it, but just some of it, just so Apollo 10.5, A Space-Age Childhood. This is by Richard Linklater.
There's our kid.
Mission? For what?
We accidentally built the lunar module. A little too small.
How'd that happen?
Listen, are you good at math?
Yeah.
Did you get a perfect 100 on every test?
No.
Okay. We need a kid like you to test this accidentally smaller version on the lunar surface, and soon.
Stan, you're our only hope.
Okay.
Well, I think there we go. I think everyone got an idea of what that looks like. I mean, if you're watching that, if you're listening, of course, go to our YouTube and watch it. You could clearly see, or just go search the trailer. I mean, for me, that is clearly animation. To me, this was such an odd story, to be honest with you. I was like, wait, what? They don't think this is what do they think animation is? Y'all clearly animated something. It's like clearly animated, even if you took. Anyway, let's dive in of exactly what was the issue, at hand, and I guess how y'all found out about it. Let's start there.
Well, I guess to give everybody the lay of the land. So we did this movie, Apollo 10.5, and submitted like a lot of other animated movies to be considered. We're just talking about qualification. Just
correct.
Are you of one of 30 films that are going to be considered that year, and
to be in a particular category, right? Like this particular
right, to be
category.
Considered for best animated feature is
correct.
The category specifically we're talking about. And so this wasn't the entire Academy. There's a subcommittee on the animation subcommittee inside of another subcommittee inside another subcommittee, which then decided that because the film is rotoscoped, or they didn't actually say because the film was rotoscoped. They said because the film
Contained too much film.
Well, and that was our problem articulating it is the same problem they had articulating it.
Interesting.
And their judgment to us, it was a few different things, that we weren't caricatured enough, that we weren't exaggerated enough. And then the most frustrating part is that we weren't animated using a frame-by-frame process.
Okay.
We worked for 2 years on the film. Our quotas are frame-by-frame. I bill frame-by-frame, and our animators draw frame-by-frame. So that was where we really got into the weird process of why exactly did they did they disqualify us? Did they think it was some sort of trick? Did they think it
Yeah.
was sort of
It's interesting. Do they have like a parameter, a book that like unless it's done this way, it's not animated, and y'all
they have
basically want to expand that book, right? Seems kind of antiquated, maybe.
well, they have a paragraph of rules that are not super clear. And I'm a
Sounds
grown
like it.
Yeah.
I'm a grown up. I'm an adult. Before we started on the film, we looked at the rules and we read
Yeah.
them, adjusted our pipeline, and we made sure that we qualified because we know, if you're making a film with Richard Linklater, there's a chance you're going to get some attention down the road.
Right.
Sure, of course.
And
That's interesting. So y'all took a look at this before you even started the process.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
And
yeah.
there were two films that both used rotoscoping, Loving Vincent and Spine of Night, that were qualified in previous years.
Mhm.
And when
So
you
we-
say rotoscoping, is there a quick way to define that real quick, just for people who may not know what that is exactly?
Yeah. Rotoscoping is using video or live action filmmaking inside of your animation pipeline. So essentially tracing on top of live action video to generate the characters' motions and movements and things like that. And it becomes this kind of collaborative process between your live action filmmaking and your animation process. It can be used to make cartoons. It can be used to make really realistic animation. And we use it in particular to get kind of an emotional authenticity in our acting.
And it's a process that's been around, right? It's not something new or so, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's patented, I think, in 1912.
I think so. Yeah. something
By
Okay.
Max Fleischer, the Popeye Betty Boop guy.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's
interesting. Wow.
it's been around a while. It used to be a wooden box with a projector and a
Right.
pane of glass, and you put your piece of paper on the pane of glass while this projector
over it.
shined through you.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Okay.
it's Very
yeah.
old school technique.
So why? So I don't under. So I'm just confused as to why this wouldn't be included in the type of anime. I don't get it. Guess I'm not following. All right. Was there something in the industry that like rotoscoping was always like below or beneath an animation? Was that just how it or no? Or has it just been a well-respected way of doing animation and everyone knows it's animation apparently except this little subcommittee?
Now you're into really kind of the unsaid things about it. Is a technical reading of the rules. My opinion was that we qualified.
Sure.
We qualified once we clarified how we made the film. So the first reason we were rejected is kind of hard to pin down. It did seem like there is no requirement for caricature or exaggeration in the rules,
Right.
but that was something that they had listed as a new requirement. So there is a bias in the industry
Sure.
against rotoscoping. I can go into it. Essentially, you've got one company, two big companies, one with the patent for the rotoscope and one without the patent for the rotoscope. And so the company without the rotoscope had a reason to really have rotoscope films be not as good. And those companies just happen to be Disney and Fleischer.
Yeah.
This is so interesting. It's like there's big tobacco and now there's big animation. I just had no idea that existed.
Yeah, and this is in the 20s. This is a very
Right.
long time ago that this kind of corporate bias kind of
Sure.
built up.
But it sort of set the standard moving forward that way,
Right.
in a
It
way.
did.
Okay. Interesting.
yeah.
Wow.
I've had people straight tell me to my face that our animated movies, that rotoscope is an animation. And it's very confusing because it is. Every frame.
It clearly is animated. Even if just the idea of taking live action footage, tracing up, you literally animated the live action footage. I don't understand.
Right.
It's like in my head, it's like 2 + 2 = 4. It totally makes sense. I don't see how you don't connect. Now, what type of animation it is, there could be an argument there, right? There's the conversation. But is it animation or not? I mean, I just don't. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So, how did y'all know what sort of evidence to bring, right, to appeal this? Because Richard Linklater got behind, right? People wrote letters, right? People got behind this when they heard about this. So, what did y'all know what to present, right? Because they couldn't really pin down the problem. How do you know what
Well,
solution to offer?
I knew we qualified. So to me, it was just a process of showing people how we made the film.
Okay.
The letters are really, really interesting because kind of the industry came out to support it.
Yeah.
Pam Ribbon, who was a writer on Moana, she wrote a letter. She's just done a great rotoscope piece called My Year of Dicks that we don't have anything to do with. So it's just totally
Love
But-
that title. I already want to read it. I'm
it's
in.
great. You'll never remember the title.
Yeah.
My Year of Dicks. And the guys who made Spine of Night,
Yep.
who
Yeah.
we mentioned, which is a rotoscope fantasy animated film, and they wrote to the Academy for us. Some guys that you probably never heard of, named Chris Miller and Phil Lord.
Yeah. The
who-
Lego guys? No.
The Lego guys who
Yeah.
made the Spider-Verse movie.
Yes,
Uh,
the Spider-Verse movie. Yes. Okay. Oh, they made the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse movie?
Those guys wrote
What?
a letter in support of us, and we're very kind of vocal on Twitter too in support of us, and
Awesome.
animation in general, because we're not in this alone. You've got Marcel Lachelle with shoes on.
Mhm.
Yes, I read about, yes. Yeah, that's in
Which-
one of the articles I read. Correct. Yep.
Yeah, which was also
Right.
trying to get in at the same time and
Yeah.
is qualified. And
Yeah.
you've got the new Pinocchio movie, Bel del Toro, who is who I don't even think he's trying for Best Picture. I don't even think he's
Really?
trying to qualify for animation. I
Wow.
think his
Interesting.
FYC
Is stop motion animation to y'all?
To us? Oh yeah. Hell, it
Stop
is
motion is. I honestly didn't know that. I'm here. I'm here for the conversation. I didn't know. I honestly thought it was its own category, like stop motion. I just thought that was its own thing. But it makes sense.
But it's-
You animate in real life, actually, kind of,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, the Academy makes that distinction, and it's really interesting because in the animated Best Picture animated category, it's one of the few categories that have these very distinct but somewhat frustratingly vague rules.
Okay, that's interesting. Because of it uses a quote unquote technology.
Mhm.
Is that maybe why?
It's interesting because yeah, we were disqualified for 100-year-old technology, but an industry that uses technology in every single and they're huge. They're huge budget films driven by computers the whole time, but somehow our technology was out of bounds, and their technology is inbound. And I will remind everybody that in this category, which was invented, I think, 21 years ago, the best animated feature hasn't been around for that long. Well, depending
Yeah,
on how
that's
old you
true.
are. If you're
That's
21,
true.
it's been around forever.
Yeah.
Disney has won 19 out of the last 21
What?
of those awards. So I think it's pretty obvious that there is a bias toward those big budget cartoon movies.
Sure. Let it go.
Yeah,
Let it
and-
go. Right. That's it.
if
If it's
you're-
not that.
Yeah, if you're a film fan, you just have to ask the question: Were those the best animated movies of those years?
Sure.
And you
Well,
don't-
listen, we all asked that about all the categories, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest.
It's true. Well,
Yes.
and two, ask yourself, why are all the animated films for kids?
Yes, great point. Great point.
We're doing films for adults. We make stuff for grown-ups, and it's automatically just it doesn't count because everything is apparently for kids only. Could we loosen all of it a little bit. Maybe have a best animated adult, best animated kids. You know, I don't really love going up against juggernauts like, you know, if Frozen or whatever was on this year. Like, there's no way. Like, it's, you know,
That's a
that's
great
automatically
point.
in. And
That's a great point. Yeah. Do they do that for other categories? I don't know. Is that something they consider?
kid
Like
versus
splitting it up like adult and you know, because I see what you're saying totally. Yeah.
Well,
Or
you know what
yeah.
they don't do is they don't ask the supporting actor to prove they're the supporting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
That's probably the
We
best
had to-
point, right? Yeah.
we had to literally prove we were worthy, and I think that shows really, you know, we were eventually qualified, but we were one of the few films that had to prove that we were worthy of it.
right.
And in no press did anybody ever say, I wonder if this film is animated? Nobody we talked to wondered if this film was animated.
I just watch. I mean, it's like you watch the first few seconds. It's like it's animated.
and I animated it, so no. But the first time we heard anyone say maybe it's not animated, that was at the Academy level for a category that's just dominated by pictures that are the polar opposite of ours. So, yeah, I mean, I don't, and I haven't talked to anybody who didn't think it was suspicious at best.
Well, it is interesting, like you said, you've got this category that's dominated. All of a sudden, this other movie comes in and could take it's like 5 spots, right? 1 of 5 spots, which is a lot, right? I'm sure there's a lot of money on the line, a lot of promotion, a lot of marketing, and they're like, I don't know about this. Let's have another look at that movie and this movie. Why don't you guys take a look at that? I'm sure there was some pressure, some emails sent, some Slack DMs, you know, in there. Let's get down on that. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but you know, I'm from the food industry, and that's kind of stuff happens all the time. You know, for James Beard Awards or just getting it at your restaurant awards or whatever. Certain people get pushed out because they're not necessarily following the mainstream, you know, way to cook or how to be a chef, quote unquote. So I find this so fascinating. I really do. I find this so fascinating. So how long was the process for y'all to get accepted, right, to be considered, right? Like how long and tough was that process?
This started May? Something like, no, well, we released the movie in April, and it's been a few months of kind of this, you're not animated, yes we are, prove it to us, you know. So it's been, I would say, 2 months maybe.
Well,
Oh,
2
wow.
months of preparing materials.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we
Okay.
submitted those materials, mostly video and the letters. We submitted initially a package, and then submitted another set of materials to the committee.
And after that,
there was
good.
there was a vote for the Academy, the subcommittees between the two submissions. So we did actually submit to a sort of new account. Now we don't even know who's on these committees and stuff.
Right.
It's a closed
Sure.
organization, and
Honestly, it's probably better that way.
probably
I mean-
so I don't show up in their driveway late at night.
Yeah. Has this animated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3D acting. No, and there were, I tell you, you know, individually there were members that were on that committee that were super helpful. That were really
wow.
in telling us, you know, how to kind of angle and what
Sure.
what mattered. But I still think it was, from a, you know, bureaucracy standpoint, very, very frustrating. And they always acknowledged that it was a frustrating moment for us, you know. And I think they're in this period of, you know, like I said, that 19 of the last 21 awards go to Disney, and I don't know an animated producer right now who thinks they have a chance at winning it.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you? Yeah,
It's
we
like
know-
Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, right? You're just thinking, well, he's got this.
Yeah, who's
Why am I
going to
even
lose
playing?
to Disney this year?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah. Who's gonna lose? That's what you bet on. Who's gonna lose to Disney?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And-
That's crazy.
And that's, you know, if you're cynical and you're fine with that, but you know, there's a little bit of hope in the type of filmmaking we make, which is we're not big budget, we're not a
Sure.
juggernaut, we're not a big
Sure.
company, and it just kind of stinks.
You should have a chance too, of course.
You don't
I
even,
mean,
yeah,
that's
and
the
then
point.
not even be qualified, not even be
Absolutely.
considered,
Yes.
And I'm not so egotistic that I think we should win.
Sure.
There's a lot of
I
great.
am. We
She
should win.
is.
We
She
should win.
is. She's
It is a phenomenal film, y'all. It really.
it's a great film. There's a lot of great animated films this year, but we just wanted to be considered on an even playing field with everyone.
Sure. Yes. Fair. You wanted it fair. Absolutely. I get it. Does this mean that future projects moving forward don't have to deal with this, or do you think this could come up again for another, animation studio?
Good question. I mean, hopefully this has settled it, but there
Yeah.
will be always something else, stop motion.
Someone new joins the committee maybe and
Right.
has
Well,
another question or something, right? Unless they put it in some like set writing for future stuff, that would be right. I guess there's no way to know that.
Well, and I think they can all look forward to us coming up with new techniques next
Right.
time.
Sure.
That's the thing, is the technology is moving.
It's going to change, right? It's going to improve. Yeah, that's crazy.
And
That's crazy.
people should be, not only should they be allowed to kind of do it, but they should be encouraged to embrace this technology. And it's funny,
Absolutely.
when a certain subset of companies embrace the technology, that they don't have to prove their animation.
right.
It's the experimental and the the not California market films where then you have to prove that your technology works. But in 5 years, they're going to be dealing with AI. They're going to be dealing with a lot of different issues. All of our stuff is based on, like we said, 100-year-old process. We're throwbacks.
Yeah, we're essentially pen and ink, or as close as you could get to it. With computers,
Wow.
we use computers,
Yeah.
of course, because you have to move files. But
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, it's pen on paper, every frame, one after the other, through the thousands and thousands of frames in a 90-minute movie. And that was what was so galling about it. Is
Sure. Like, what do you mean we didn't animate this? Are you crazy? Like, I didn't sleep for 3 years. Like, yes.
Right. I scheduled this whole movie. We,
Yeah.
all these shots happen. We approve them every day and then every week.
Sure.
Like, it's just constantly looking at frames and line work and stuff and trying to make it as good and perfect and beautiful as possible. And then to be told, well, this is too good. You clearly didn't animate it.
It's too good.
Even is
It's
that.
too good. That's, you know what? Maybe that's the compliment, right? Yeah, it was just too good. They were like, no way, this is animated.
Trying to take
This
it
is
back.
no way. Yeah, that's
Not
what,
really.
it's kind of funny. I wonder if Disney had used that technology, if they'd have been having the same problem. I doubt it, but I did think of something while y'all were speaking. It kind of like, you never saw the Academy be like, well, they filmed this on digital cameras. This isn't qualify for, right, for these categories, right? They're cool with technology changing and moving around. You can pretty much do anything. And in fact, they encourage it and look for it, right? Like, so that is odd. From y'all's standpoint, there's some like roadblocks. They're like, whoa, hang on a second.
Nobody's
But,
well, you shot it on, a Bolex to reach back.
Yeah,
No one uses them anymore. But, well, you shot on a Bolex, so clearly.
correct.
And
Yeah,
it's the oldest kind. I
exactly.
mean, same with the new stuff. But no one busts down a filmmaker for using the newest camera ever.
Of course not. That's look at James Cameron, right? He's inventing cameras to make movies and stuff, like the technology. I wonder if is Avatar considered animated the way that is?
Avatar is motion capture, and
Yeah.
motion capture is one of the few things that's listed in the rules as not being
Animated.
animated. So Alita
Interesting.
Battle Angel, Avatar. If the actor's wearing the tracking dots.
Yeah. How do y'all feel about that? What do y'all think?
I mean, we don't do motion tracking, so it doesn't really affect us. I think it's hard to make the argument, though, that Avatar isn't animated when 100% of the universe is created by animators.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I think
yeah.
Alita Battle Angel, you'd have a harder because it's mixed.
Okay, yeah, good point.
Um,
Okay, that's interesting. Just the
but-
character or characters.
Right.
Yeah, but you still, I mean, it's.
But the world, the environment.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow, that's it. So you know what? I mean, the Academy, I hope, is having conversation. Like, look, guys, things are changing. And I'm sure more people are going to be submitting films with other technologies that we're going to have to take a look at, right? And other people in the industry are going to get behind it. Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah.
And
No,
again,
that's fascinating.
like you guys have said, if you're nominated for director of photography, you don't have to prove
Correct.
that you were the director of photography. You don't have to show the workings of your camera. There's this extra obstacle
Yeah.
that best feature animators have to go through, that really is kind of confounding, until you look at those broader issues of your bias against rotoscope and your really dominance of those big budget cartoon movies from just a couple studio.
Right. And
Yeah.
we're going to keep innovating. So, next time will we have this same but slightly different bite as we have figured out another way to do what we do? I just wonder. I hope
Do y'all
that-
have other projects in the pipeline that like you're worried about could, deal with this same issue? And
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I'm not really worried about it now that they have, gave up the fight.
Yeah.
I was more worried before,
Sure.
but I think that kind of anything we do is going to be weird and quirky and interesting and strange. It's sort of a different place. I don't know. Am I totally on left field here?
I mean, my feeling's always been that we originally qualified,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that through the appeal we have proven that we always qualified.
Sure.
And so I do, in my mind, if I use a similar pipeline, then that would qualify. But I was surprised by this initial ruling. So you can always be surprised.
Yeah.
But I think hopefully now we've settled it, as we did make the larger argument that there were precedent-setting films, that we were the just one of many films that were done this way that do qualify, and that the industry themselves and a lot of voters in the Academy wanted us to at least be able to compete.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's also not like it's a one part of the film or something. Like it's from the beginning to the end, right? So it's on Netflix. You can watch it now, right? I refreshed myself and watched it again. I watched it when it came out. It really is just a great film. But you can kind of tell that it's done in that a Scanner Darkly sort of way. That's what I am at. I saw it as that sort of thing where you could tell, okay, they filmed some people and animated it, but you animated it, right? Like that's the key word. Like again, the confusion was so interesting to me. What did Richard initially say about all this? I mean, I'm sure he's right. I mean, he thought it was going to be able to be considered, right? He never thought this would be a fight as well, right? I would imagine.
Well, and that's what kind of got us, involved in really the appeal, was that it was our department.
Yeah. Oh, they talk about us?
Yeah, I was kind of like,
yeah.
oh, that thing I told you is really, really publicly wrong. Oh, good. We're in Variety about it. So,
Yeah.
So then, we had to kick it into high gear, really kind of, as an animation department, kind of show what we did. And we worked with the animation director, Tommy Plata, who worked closely with Richard. And, he wasn't happy. He's a very chill dude, but he didn't like it. I mean,
Sure.
And of course, we all got really kind of mama bear defensive about our animators because we didn't, the ruling wasn't written, from a perspective of kindness.
Right.
I'm not sure. It wasn't mean, but we all took it as a little bit of a slight, and that motivated us to really get in there and prove that, these folks had really worked super hard. I mean, if we were cheating, it wouldn't have took 2 years.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a real hard pressure to tell
Yeah.
folks that you worked hard to find, and they worked hard to learn the style, and then busted their asses for, over a year. And, every day drawing so much their hands hurt. You know what I mean? Like just
Oh
drawing
man,
their asses off, and then to be told, oh, well, you didn't actually draw that. I mean, the insult. And
absolutely.
I just don't want that. I didn't want that to happen to them. They're good people. They worked hard. They animated.
Yeah, they animated. Yes, absolutely.
And
Did
that's
y'all have
what-
like did y'all celebrate when y'all find out, okay, we're good to go? It's all, was there any sort of, or was it like, yeah, of course,
kind of, yeah.
right? Kind of like, yeah, we shouldn't have had to go through all this BS,
I mean,
right?
well, the
But
animators first, like, good job, you guys. You animated an animated movie. Congratulations. It is official. You've done it.
that's so funny. That is just so crazy. Yeah. So look, yes. Well, congratulations. I'm glad y'all worked out and prevailed. Did y'all really? I'm curious. Last question, because I do want to move on to that corridor crew thing about the Spider-Verse thing. What is y'all's percentage like in your head of thinking we're going to be able to come out on top on this? Did y'all have a pretty good, like, yeah, we're going to win this, or weren't sure?
Oh, as far as the appeal,
Yeah. How far were y'all? How sure were y'all about that?
none.
Not
50-50.
50. Like,
Oh,
the day
interesting.
we found out
Okay.
before, I was like, I don't know. I don't think, maybe we will. I don't know. Fingers crossed, because it's just like it's not good for us if it goes the other way. So,
Is there precedent for other appeals, like you were trying to look at, or something, like, I don't know.
I don't know if they're
Probably no way to even look that up or something, right? Like,
right, because they accepted those other two that Craig talked about. No,
yeah.
no
Yeah.
question. So, that was,
Yeah.
that was why it was
Interesting.
so unsure, just-
Well, y'all can be considered now. Everyone can get back to animating and doing what they were doing, right? Like, okay,
Yeah,
great.
now
yeah.
we're on to the stress of getting
Yeah.
shortlisted now as the next thing.
Right.
We need to try to get that done. So that's the next step before the nomination is.
Which is that, when does that process start? I mean, right now, right? I mean, should be soon now.
Yeah, right now you'll start to see ads and things in the trades for pictures and people for your consideration ads, or what they're called. And
Yeah, and I know Richard's going to be going to LA for some screening and stuff in support of that. So
Nice.
that should be coming soon. Just to get more people there is, the thing. So he just wrapped up a shoot, so he's raring to go. My understanding.
yeah, so our next step is that broader vote at the Academy for that short list. And like I said, it's a really lot of great films this year, and you try to stay a little Buddhist about it, because it's really all of it's inexplicable.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you get shortlisted, great, but our real point was just to be considered and have those animators be judged, along with everybody else. We just felt they deserve that. And if we don't move on, we don't move on, but if we do, that's great. I know that I've seen a lot of top 10 lists of animated films this year, and it's made a lot of good top 10 lists, and I'm hoping that bodes well for that next step.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great to hear. No, that's great. I'm so glad you all prevailed. Absolutely. When I saw the initial article, that part wasn't decided yet. So then I saw the net. Okay, we got the full story. And I know we were reaching out during that time, so it was like, I'm glad we were able to talk about the entire thing. To be honest with you, that would have been even more nerve-wracking podcast. Like, oh my God. I probably would have said some things that maybe if they watched it, they'd be like, you know what? Forget that guy. He said this. I don't know.
Yeah, that was why we kind of wanted to wait too, because it was like, this won't be nearly as good a conversation not knowing. It's better. We have
Much
a
smarter.
lot to talk about now.
Yes. No. Y'all did the right thing. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know what's up. Okay, look, let's take a look at this thing from Corridor Crew. So it's basically about this new technology that's out to animate. And so I'm just curious what y'all think of it and its implications and like the future of it. We'll just kind of end on a positive note here with that, which will let you y'all's story too. It ended positively. That came out wrong, didn't it? The intro to this really explains it all. We're obviously not going to watch this whole video, but it explains it all.
Into the Spider-Verse is one of my favorite comic book films ever made. It made huge leaps in bringing a more artistic appeal to CG animation, and it perfectly captured the essence of what a comic book feels like to read. I would love to see more stories told in this world, but the problem is, it took years of research and development to innovate the style of the film. It took so long, in fact, that at the end of the process, the creative team behind the film started to implement machine learning into their workflow. And since the film's release in 2018, it will be 4 years until we get the sequel. So in the meantime, the question I'm asking is it possible to replicate the style of the film in a procedural manner? We've been experimenting with a lot of AI tools here at the studio, in particular AI image generation. Last week I had a huge breakthrough with a program called Stable Diffusion, and I think this method will allow us to tell a story in the Spider-Verse universe by letting us take a real piece of footage and taking it into the Spider-Verse.
I don't know. What do y'all, did y'all get the gist of that? I'm sure you did.
AI, yeah, it's funny. I just had a meeting about that yesterday, in fact, of how we can kind of take AI and mush it into our pipeline and stuff. So this is an intriguing, it's very intriguing that you bring it up today. It literally just yesterday's conversation.
They made a whole video about that, like a 3-minute Spider-Verse, right, video.
I mean, I think it has incredible opportunities. It's like we've talked about, we're always looking to innovate and make what we do go a little faster, smoother, cleaner, while still maintaining the performance capture part of it, the capturing the acting and the emotion, and getting that important stuff done by humans by hand, because that's where, I mean, the animators are just a second actor at that point. They're also acting, and so I know that AI probably won't get there with the acting part, but it can take care of the pants cuffs and the lapels, and for our stuff, that it's got some interesting applications. I'm kind of excited to dive into it.
Yeah, I think I mean, yeah, from a creative perspective, I'm a little more ruthless with it. In that it is, if you're trying to get rid of the animators, you've kind of misunderstood the process.
That's a good way to
The animators are, and you ever cooked ribs? They're better. They're better when you take longer.
Yeah, of course. Slow cooking,
There's
everything.
a reason you go slow. There's a reason that
Yeah.
you have the hand of these very, very talented people involved. Now, what
Sure.
Steph really clued in on is there's a lot of labor involved in animation that is not your protagonist, that are not your keyframes, that is
The
work.
supplemental stuff that
Yeah,
adds to.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And the technical work. Now, I think what we work really hard is in automating processes that are unseen by the audience, but we would never really use them to deliver that performance, that thing that makes your thing, unique.
Sure.
So for these approaches, I think it's always valuable for the companies and the software developers to sell it as a all catch all of anime. You can do a character, press a button, boom, you
Pretty
got
much. Yeah.
And I've made a lot of this, and there's not anything that's going to get you all the way. So, but in combination, we have a team called the Performance Capture Laboratory, which is my team of mad scientists, and they just have no holds barred on what software they can use and where they can use it. But we don't really use any software right out of the box.
Right,
the way it's intended.
It's a souffle, essentially. Take all the good stuff and put it together and
I like that.
final piece,
Yeah.
but it's all
Sure.
very delicate and exactly measured, because you overdo your eggs and you're going to have a bad souffle. So it's like, it's important to make sure that we do the right parts of each kind of step of the process and grab the useful things and
And then that becomes where it's really interesting, where then you're like a bartender in a well-stocked bar, and you're like, I need to make a zombie movie that's set in Victorian England, and I've got this lighting, and now I need a set of tools that are going to help me make that work really well.
Interesting.
And
wow.
so they're always like a part of your arsenal, but you've still got a few years to go before that AI or that software can replicate what a good artist can do. And
do you think that'll happen one day where like AI will just be able to animate a movie?
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
Wow.
I think it,
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
humans will still have to be involved, and
But yeah, because the AI won't know what it doesn't know.
right.
Sure. Interesting. So like get like 90% of it, but you got to go in and fix this,
how is
that.
and how is the
Interesting.
AI
Wow.
going to predict Christopher Walken? How is the AI going to
Sure.
give you,
Yeah.
how is the AI predict that B. Author would be one of the biggest comedy stars in the history? It's inexplicable. We as humans are just weird animals. And so you do get something that is a little uncanny valley, and you
Sure.
get that separation where when you replace that with an actor, you get back to that authentic place. If you like Star Wars, you know the difference. You can tell when that CG character comes on, you're like, oh, it looks good, but it doesn't look as good as the actual character.
Right.
And it's
Absolutely. Yeah.
and these are people with the most amount of resources on the planet to apply to making, Luke Skywalker look young again, and they're almost there.
Right.
Almost.
Almost.
I mean, if we could
That's crazy.
it, we probably will. I mean, that's the thing is, why not try bigger, better, faster? It might be better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I get it. Absolutely. I mean, what if an anime movie doesn't take 2 years to put out? It takes, I don't know, 3 months, 2 months.
exactly right.
That's
It could
interesting.
be exciting. I mean, I don't know.
That's a huge change, right? That would be a massive industry change.
Yeah, it really would. Yeah.
That's pretty massive.
I mean, for Apollo, we made a minute and a half a week. It's,
Wow.
and that's with 40 animators. So that's,
Wow.
it is a lot of characters,
Sure.
that more characters makes more time, but still, then that's everybody kind of busting it as fast as they can. So
And what we've done really is to utilize like digital workflow.
right.
So our pipeline is built very much like a traditional animated. If you had wooden desk and paper, that's what the flow is kind of visualized. But we go faster because we're in a digital pipeline, so we don't have to pick up paper, walk it
Sure.
down the hall.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
Take it to the pencil test machine, put it in the pencil test machine,
Right.
shoot it with the moviola.
Right.
Like it just.
But
Wow.
but we are going for, especially in Apollo, a kind of evergreen classic animated look,
Right.
which we get from that traditional pipeline. So you do sacrifice something for the technology, and you can see it if you compare the movies, the animated movies in the 70s and animated movies in the 80s and then the 90s, is that you can see that almost like a video gameization of
Sure. Yes. Yes.
and some people are fine with it, and some people are,
Glossier, right? I just see it as like glossier. I don't know if that's the right term.
Yeah. Remember in the early aughts when the whole Photoshop thing was to make everybody look almost sweaty? Like everybody was like plastic and glistening for a little while there.
Oh, there were 4 years where lens flares was the biggest thing in the world. You had to have lens flares are really big.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams. I was gonna say that. Yeah, it's a little Star Trek. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Too.
That's
Very
funny.
Very pretty. Yeah, we just like to actually draw them. That's our angle.
Yeah, we do them too. Craig draws them. This will look good here.
Let's put that here. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Like, yeah. Is there? Do y'all have like pre-boards or visualizations of this stuff, or can you do that with this animation? It's like, is that double animating?
Well, we do a lot of research before we start, so there's a lot of, for Apollo, what was going on in 1966, design-wise, color-wise.
Sure. Okay.
Something we talked about a lot. Development is all for design. So we, really design the heck out of it. All of the archival footage, all of the stuff that's on TV and movies, that has a different look than the regular family stuff where they're just in their normal life. And that was intentional. That was Craig's idea, to separate real life and fantasy life, because Stan lives so much in his fantasy life that we didn't want to lose completely the idea that he is in a fantasy, because the whole movie is his fantasy, essentially.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
showing visually an easy way to tell the difference between real life, fantasy life. So, I mean, that all got designed in advance. JFK's speech and 2001 Space Odyssey. These are shots that from the very first time we read the script, like, oh, I can't wait.
Oh man, it's
this
so, there's so much to take in. It's like the voiceover, obviously, and you're able to cut like that too, right? Out of like this, synchronicity. Oh my God, I can't get that word out. You know what I mean? Like it just, so there's just so much to take in. It's amazing. It really is just like the most amazing film. It's probably one of the best films. It is one of the best films I saw all year, for sure. Well, hands down, regardless of animated or not. I actually don't really watch a lot of animated stuff because it's made for kids, and I don't have kids. So I find it weird if I'm going to be like, oh, let me go see the kids movie and sit up front. Where's your kids? I don't have any kids. What do you mean? That seems kind of weird. Yeah. Like I'm dragging my nephews. They don't want to go anymore.
Yeah. It's a Richard Linklater movie, I think, before it's a kids movie. It is
exactly. Correct.
It's a family-friendly film, but it's got an unusual narrative. It's an unusual flow. It's not a formulaic picture by any means. It's still a weird little animal and a very unique film, and a unique film experience. But a lot of people just find it really, really joyful to watch.
Oh, it's awesome. It's amazing. Really, it's just so amazing. The story goes in great places. I just loved it. I love Jack Black. So he's just, I could hear him read anything, honestly, and I'm in. Yeah. Like I follow him I even follow him on YouTube. I watch his stupid YouTube videos that he does. Like, they're great. He's just great. I just love that guy.
He's running around in his backyard and his
he's just so cool with his kids and stuff. Like, you're just like, man, this guy is just like he would be just a great Tenacious D. Yep. I just love his personality. I've loved all his films. I've been following him for a long time. So, he's just such a great guy. Do y'all have the voices? I'm assuming y'all have the voices before you animate?
Well, we had his. So we had his voiceover, and then, they filmed the whole thing. So, and then they just put his voiceover on top, but we needed it for timing.
So they film and edit the entire film with the actors on a green screen. Mm-hmm. And then they lay in temporary sound and
that's the movie I want to see, the green screen version of this.
It's wild. It's crazy. They're like, the kids are riding their bikes on just a green cyc. The wagon is in there just on a green cyc, and it looks crazy if you don't know what you're looking at. But that's green screen filmmaking.
And here's a bit of trivia. It was shot on the same soundstage as Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow. Robert Rodriguez, Troublemaker. Wow, that's so cool. Have y'all worked with Robert before?
No.
I haven't, no. But it was cool to
Not yet.
Yeah, right. But I mean, 20 days of shooting, that's incredible for a film, for a full-length feature. 20 days, and with kids. Kids have rules about how long you can work, and they're pretty about it, very, very serious. So it ended up being...
They should be.
Yeah, no, it's for sure.
No,
I'm not complaining about that. That's good.
No, I know. I
But
know they used to make them work
but, like,
long hours back in the day.
right, but that's, normally a film set would be a 14-hour day, and that's a short one, and you're lucky to get it. But
Sure.
these were, 8-hour days, and it's just a testament to how smooth Linklater is, and it just zip, 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 done. And then here's another crazy piece of trivia, right? They finished filming on a Sunday. On Monday, we had the wrap party at a pinball place, and that Friday, we all packed up our computers and we went home for 2 years. Didn't come back in the studio.
Because of COVID.
Right.
Oh my, wow.
Right.
So
So-
y'all had just wrapped when COVID sort of hit?
We
Yeah.
just wrapped the live action shoot.
The live action, I mean. Yes, that's interesting.
So Sandra,
Wow.
she edited it. So she was editing during, and there was a couple of months where everybody's like, what is it?
What do we do? Sure, of course.
We're still designing and going. We're like, we're gonna start. I mean, if we can start. And when we made Undone season 1 in 2018, all of our animators were in the studio with us. And then for Undone season 2 and Apollo, everybody worked from home, and we figured that out on the fly. So
Wow.
it was especially painful to be told after all of that.
Sure, of course.
Because it was
Yes.
such a huge undertaking for so many people, and during such a scary, scary time. That, I mean,
Yes.
during we had the freeze here in Austin for a week.
Yes.
A lot of
I
our
was
people-
there for that. That's when I moved. I
really?
moved at the end of that week like an idiot. I had to move. I still have on my moving date. I had the moving company. It was like, we're doing this. Yeah, that was a scary week. Yeah, that
It was scary. Our people were scared. We were scared, but we just
Yeah.
kind of kept going because
That's
we had
crazy.
people all over the country. So they kept going when we couldn't. And then also too, during production, the insurrection happened. There was fires and heat waves in the Northwest.
Yeah.
And so it was just a
Wow.
whole bunch of real life stuff going on that, we just kind of muscled on through it and kept it together for the team. And, then this. So I'm really extra grateful that the Academy reversed their stance.
Oh my God! Of course. Like, look, even a coup wasn't going to get in your way. You know what I mean? Why the Academy is not going to get in your way? You know what I mean? Like, we survived a coup, y'all, in COVID. We are going to beat the Academy. We got these guys. Yeah, no, I get it. Wow, this has to be obviously the toughest production y'all have ever had to go through. I'm sure. Just for
Every,
those
every
reasons
film
alone.
is every
It's
film
the
is your
same thing.
baby, but
Yeah.
but this one I think because of the conditions under which we made it, we were
Well, and we did Undone season 2 at the same time. They started within a week of each other. So it was it was crazy. We had 60 people working with us, and
Wow.
everybody had to be hired at once. It was a big undertaking, but it was so fulfilling. And I like that part where you take the puzzle and you put all the pieces together in production. I think that's neat. So it was hard, but it was the most satisfying so far because of that.
Wow.
I just
Wow.
wish it didn't have been so hard in real life. That's the only thing.
Oh, of course. There's no
You
need
know.
to add on to it, right? Yeah.
a lot
Life
of
is
a lot of
already.
people didn't work during that period. We were grateful to have
We
the
were-
work.
So lucky.
Sure, that's a great point.
Yeah, and it was just keeping our people, it- if we need to work late, we'll get pizza. Well, we can't do that now. So
Sure.
didn't
Yeah.
work late.
Yeah. I got an extra booster, guys. We're gonna be sending extra boosters to everybody. I don't know, like anything you can do, right?
Right?
Yeah. No. I can't even imagine. We dealt with our own stuff on the podcast, but I mean, it's nothing in comparison at all. There's only like 4 of us. We were already remote anyway, so nothing changed for us, to be honest. But yes, absolutely. It was heartbreaking. I had just closed my food truck right before that happened. So like I literally dodged a bullet, man. Like, cause all my friends had to go through it all, running in Austin there, running their restaurants and food trucks and everything. It was a disaster. I mean, they're still picking up some of the pieces, to be honest with you, to this day
Yeah.
from that. So yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, as a nation, we're going to have PTSD for a while, I think, from the pandemic. But
Sure.
also, collectively, the economy and everything is also going through it too. We're all sort of like, whoa,
Yeah.
is it over?
Yeah.
Is it not? Is it, so I don't know. It was, but in a way, it was kind of, at least we were all kind of in it together with our folks, with our people.
Yeah.
Like we were, well, we're just going to do this, and we're just gonna do this and deal.
No,
And
absolutely. And look what y'all made. Beautiful film.
thank
That
you.
you when you watch it, you can't tell that y'all went through that struggle. Just FYI,
Good.
right? Like,
Good. Glad to hear that.
right? Yeah, you could see the blood on the screen. Whoa, got my blood on there. No, actually, some of the effects y'all did of stuff hitting the lens, quote unquote, like that was cool. There was some good shots of some of that stuff. Yeah, it was just so. Again, obviously animated, but yeah, just y'all crushed it. I mean, it's just such a well-made film, but on top of it, the animation really lends it. It just is this unique film to watch because of that style is different. You just don't see it, and it makes it just all that more interesting to me. So yeah, it's on Netflix right now, right? You can check it out on Netflix. And I don't know, this almost seems like they could make a sequel to this
I
movie.
mean, Apollo 12 and a half, where does he go next?
Where's he go next? Yes. Another sort of like, not space. It's like another, maybe a water adventure, right? That he has a fantasy about.
Right?
You know, I don't know.
That's what makes it see.
you
We'd
know,
all
yeah.
do it, all the
100%. Yes. I could relate to that film so much. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 79. But a lot of that stuff in the 80s was the same. So
Yeah.
watching the film was great. Just, growing up in the neighborhood, just all that stuff, right? Was like, man, that still happened in the 80s. It didn't stop. I think the 90s, maybe the 2000s, yeah, it kind of stopped. But a lot of those things, pre-internet, right? Having a bunch of TV channels, not coming home till latchkey kid, not coming
Right.
home till 8, 9 at night. Really, when it got dark, actually, I shouldn't lie.
when mom
When it got
hollered
dark.
for you,
Yeah,
that's how
yeah, yeah.
building forts in the woods out of trash and
Absolutely.
all of that
Yes.
stuff that is,
When you
tucked
hear the
in.
country whistle, you come home.
Yeah, yeah. The development, like I grew up in Euless. It's in between Dallas and Fort Worth here. And that was our development. It was all new, all dirt, right? So I related a lot to that part of the story. It's in Texas too, right? Outside of Houston there, right? So like just that whole idea was like, yeah, this is exactly how we grew up too. Yeah, it was just such a great film, guys. Just congratulations. Congratulations on getting through all the drama and making it out on top. Look, is there any projects you want to give a shout out to that you have other than this that you want people to check out or that you have coming out or anything like that? I don't know.
Well, you got, like you said, Netflix. Watch Apollo 10 and a half on Netflix. We watch Undone on
Amazon Prime.
on Amazon Prime. Undone, 2 seasons of Undone. It's great. If
So
you
good.
love Apollo, you'll love Undone. If you love Undone, you'll love Apollo. And you can also find our first film, Tower, documentary, which is also on Prime. And right now, festivaling, there's a film by a filmmaker named Jeff Marslet, and it's called Quantum Cowboys, and that's on the festival circuit right now, which we did a piece of animation for, and it's a
collage to the max.
it's a
style.
multiverse,
Okay.
multi-styles.
It has paper cutout and rotoscope,
Yeah.
other rotoscopers.
Time traveling western written by a former quantum physicist.
Yeah.
So
I'm in. Oh my God, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm all
and
about
he's-
that.
yeah, he's got it's a wild film. It's completely out there, and I don't even think Jeff expected it to get the acceptance that it has. People are really loving this just inexplicable, unsellable, weird, surrealistic film. And
That's
he's
awesome.
having time of his life taking it around the world and showing it to people, because it's really just struck a nerve. And so that's hopefully that'll get distribution, because it's having a good festival run. But if you're one of those festival people, or you want to hear about animation early, look out for Quantum Cowboys.
Yeah, and then also on YouTube, the Critical Role folks that play D&D on YouTube, we did their new opening sequence. Pretty excited.
wow.
About it. A lot of fun fantasy stuff in there. That was a blast to do.
It's Thursday night.
I love it. I love it. Is
And we
that that part of the intro, or is that just something y'all do randomly together? No, I'm
That's a
kidding.
great
I'm
song.
kidding.
We have it a little memorized. It seems
Yeah.
We're not as good as they are.
Yeah,
But it's better.
and also we did a music video for the Black Angels, local Austin kick-ass band that they came here and shot in our little studio, and we did a fun music video for them. So
What? Like animated like that too?
yeah, we
What?
did it in like a Ralph Bakshi style, like Wizards or Lord of the Rings, and that was what they
What?
like. You guys know how to do that?
Wow, that sounds so cool. That
Yeah.
sounds amazing. How long did that take to
Not even that
make?
long. I mean, it was a day in the studio shooting with them, and 2 months of animation.
Music
maybe?
videos are much shorter than
Yeah, they're
films,
a lot
Yeah.
shorter.
But still, 2 months? That's I thought you were gonna say shorter than that. Okay, that still seems like a long time for the music, right? Like,
It
wow.
includes everything, design and final stuff.
Sure.
But that was
Getting it
fun.
out.
That song
That's awesome.
sounds good too. So
Hell
um,
yeah. No, that's
it's out.
great.
And then we're also pitching our own original stuff too, and to lots of different places. And so hopefully something more soon. But those are all the things that are out right now that you can see, except for Cloud
That's
Tower
awesome.
yet, but unless you go to a festival.
Yeah, you
Was it
gotta-
at the Austin Film Festival? Did they have
Yeah.
it playing at that one?
It was at
was.
this year's Austin Film Festival, played already.
Oh, it did. Yeah, I didn't see it. I was there. I didn't hear about that one. I don't. There were so many films. I was there to interview and whatever.
Such a great festival. It's such a great festival. He just played at Minneapolis over the weekend at a film festival there, and
Man, I wish I could have seen that. See, I watched some movies I didn't want to watch, and there's movies that I want to watch, like I don't get to. Oh
That
man,
seems to be the way of the festival, though. I know whenever
trust me. Yes.
it's always, I intend to do this, a whole list of things, and I make it to two, and I do eight.
It all gets scheduled for me, so I'm just like, who, where, who am I talking to? Okay, talk to this person. Okay, let's do it. Let's go watch this movie. Okay, I'm in.
Right? Do they lead you around by the hand as you?
yeah, if
No, they schedule it for me, right? Like Amy, who scheduled with y'all, she'll schedule it, and then I just show up, and hopefully it's right, and I'm at the right place, right, half the time,
if
but
we
yeah,
go
no,
to a
it's
party and there's food there, that's pretty much the end of the schedule for the day. It's just
I
like,
agree. Food is where it's at. Yes, I used to do the Showtime, like VIP cater that, in Austin every year during South by. Just do my Spanish food and just go and kick it there for all day. It was great. Just meet great people and serve great food. I miss those days that's what I miss about serving food is those moments, but not the day to day. I don't miss the day to day.
I could see that,
But some of the
that's
best networking at film festivals is not the workshops, it's not the film.
It's near the food booth. Yeah, where the food is. Absolutely.
Waiting in the beer line or waiting in the bathroom line.
right. And you just start chatting, and then
true.
the next thing you know, it's someone that you know through someone else, or suddenly they're your new best friend, and then you hang out the rest of the
Yeah,
festival.
you and Steven Spielberg got to pee real bad at the same time.
It hasn't happened with me yet.
That's how Richard Dreyfuss got Close Encounters.
Is that true? Is that it?
Not
That's
true at
funny.
all.
That would have been a great story. Oh my God, that
God, I
would have
wish
been a
it
great story. I wish it was true. Now I do wish it was true. That is so funny. Listen, guys, this was so much fun. I got to tell you guys, thank you guys so much. I had such a blast. I did. Talking about y'all's heartache, I thoroughly enjoyed it. No, I'm kidding. No, this was this was great. Honestly, congratulations on on everything. I'm making it through, and crazy project and all that. My hats off to y'all. So, y'all have any questions or anything? I don't know. I don't want to leave anything unsaid here.
See, when will this be up? I'm very curious.
I don't know specifically. It'll hit the schedule. It goes into the system, the machine,
Right.
and it pops out, and I get an email at the same time. Really, so I'll find out when y'all do. But soon, this season for sure. I would say in a few weeks, 4 weeks, somewhere in there. We're always a few interviews ahead.
Yeah.
Try to be. Yeah, we try to plan too. You know what I mean? Barely. We're hanging on.
Well, we'll let you know if we get disqualified for anything between now and then.
Thanks, man.
Listen, fingers crossed for y'all, and y'all make it through the process. Well, either way, love to have y'all back on and talk more stuff, animation stuff. I find it completely fascinating. It's a great world. There's more to talk about. I know it's a big world. I know there's a big industry. So this was amazing. So thank y'all so much for taking the time today. Really do appreciate it.
We'll come back anytime. So just tolerate us.
Awesome. Well, listen, guys, I'll let y'all get back to your day. Hopefully you're done for the day. No more shooting, and you're done. So hopefully that's it. A little bit. Okay, right on. Well, I get it. I still got to work too. And, pay the bills.
You've been listening to the Lone Star Plate podcast with your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. For more info, go to lonestarplate.show.